Assalamu alaikum, salamun salam. Salams to all my brothers and sisters, and peace to the non-Muslims. My name is Abdullah Mustafa. I'm going to be doing a series entitled, How is Jesus God? Now, the purpose of this series isn't to debate or to argue or to disrespect or offend Christians, because this is a major sin in Islam. To offend a person is a major sin. So this is not at all to do anything negative. The purpose for this series will be two purposes mainly. One will be to shed some light on the Islamic perspective of Jesus, because many Christians probably don't even know that Muslims believe in Jesus. They probably don't even think that he's a part of our faith. And if they do think we believe in Jesus, probably something crazy, because there's so much misinformation going around about Islam. So that will be a purpose of this series, to shed some light on the Islamic perspective of Jesus. So that's one. Two, to trigger thinking, because Jesus is the subject of dispute among religions, among the if you want to say Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Jesus is the subject of dispute because Judaism, they don't recognize him as a prophet. He isn't recognized as a prophet or a messenger at all. So that's one. So he's not even recognized as, who he is, as a prophet and a messenger. Christians recognize Jesus as a prophet and a messenger, but they go to another level, as in to say that he is a God or the son of a God, which is the same thing. If you say he's a God, you say he's a God. If you say he's the son of God, that's the same thing, because there will be no difference in that, whether he's a God or a son of a God. They're both the same thing. It's giving him divinity, seeing him as divine, as a God in some sense or in some way along those lines. So that's the level that Christians put Jesus. And then Islam, we believe in Jesus as a prophet and a messenger, unlike the Jewish perspective. So we believe in him as a prophet and a messenger, but we don't believe in him as a God or a son of God. So we're in the middle. So Jesus, is the subject of dispute among religions. So what I want to do with this series is to, again, shed some light on the Islamic perspective of Jesus, and also to trigger some thinking. If Jesus is seen as which he is, the Son of God or God, I want to go through some verses, some proofs in the Bible, along with logic and common sense, to try to promote thinking on those beliefs. You say that he's, some say, or most, Allah knows best the actual amount. People say this because last month? Yeah, last month, or maybe the month before that, me and some, other Muslim brothers of mine, we were in a church praying, Jummah prayer. And that sect of Christianity, they don't believe in Jesus as being a God or a son of a God. So, not all Christians have that belief, obviously. I don't know what name that sect of Christianity is called, but they don't believe in Jesus as a God. So I hope I have made clear the purpose of this series, again, to the Islamic perspective, and to trigger some thinking on the issue of Jesus being divine, the God or son of a God. And to begin this series, I want to go over some brief verses from the Quran, and I'm reading from the computer, and a very comprehensive article on Jesus, and it's full of proofs, because another thing about this series is that we're going to keep it on proof, because in today's time, you have a lot of people with a lot of philosophy. And whether it was today's time or in times past, people have philosophy, people have opinions, all kinds of things. Not interested in any of that, because philosophy doesn't pay the bills. What I think, or my personal opinion, or you think, or he thinks, or she thinks, we can go all around the world 150 times based on our opinions and our philosophies and what we think. doesn't mean anything. Because a philosophy and opinions, that isn't proof. We can't use a person's philosophy as a proof. Try paying your bills with a philosophy. Won't work, right? So philosophy and opinions, personal opinions, everyone has one. And we can go all around the world 150 times and never accomplish anything by just going off of opinions and heresy and conjecture and theories. Not interested in any of that with this series. This series is purely based on proof. The verses in the Quran, the verses in the Bible. Not interested in the person's, personally, I believe in my opinion on the matter and my philosophy. Not interested in that, because that doesn't solve problems or bridge gaps. The only thing that will bridge gaps and will solve issues and problems and bring us together as a people is when we start to use knowledge and thinking, and when we focus on proof, science, the text of the Quran, the text of the Bible. And along this series, I will be quoting from the Quran, which is the revelation as a Muslim, I believe, from Allah. And also I will be quoting from the Bible, which also is a revelation. It is a tenet of my faith, two things: to believe in the Bible as a revelation and to believe in Jesus. So look how beautiful Islam is. Islam doesn't tell me that I can be a Muslim and just say, hey, forget about Jesus. I'm not messing with that. Or forget about the Bible. You will never find any Muslim disrespecting the Bible. Go find one Muslim that disrespects the Bible, or tears the Bible up, or rips the Bible up, or sets the Bible on fire. Where have you ever heard of that? Go find one Muslim that makes fun of Jesus. But I can go find Christians who have burned the Bible. Not the Bible, the Quran. I can go find Christians who have burned the Quran. And I can go find Christians who have made fun of Prophet Muhammad. But you can't find that in Islam, because the Bible and Jesus, they both have a place in Islam. A special, honored place and position granted by Allah. So look at how beautiful, Islam is. So we're going to go over some verses from the Quran just to get started on, like I said, to shed some light on the Islamic perspective of Jesus. There's a chapter in the Quran, chapter 19, and it's entitled, it's named after Jesus' mother, Maryam. We believe in her. She has a place in Islam as well, as one of the best women ever to have walked the earth. And this, Allah gives an account of the story of Jesus in this chapter that is named, again, I repeat, after Jesus' mother. And I'm going to read some of the verses. Okay, we start by, now Mary and first I'm going to give a little brief description. Mary, Jesus' mother, had became pregnant with Jesus, so she went away. She went away to, another place. Okay, I'm going to start with verse 27, chapter 19. She came to her family carrying him. They said, "O Mary, you have committed something that is totally unexpected. O descendant of Aaron, your father was not a bad man, nor was your mother unchaste." So what this means is chapter 27. I read from chapter 19, verses 27 through 28. And in these two verses, the first verse, again, Mary came to her family with Jesus. And they said they had in mind that she had committed fornication. So they say, you have committed something that is totally unexpected. And then they say to her, O descendant of Aaron, your father was not a bad man, nor was your mother unchaste. So in other words, what happened to you? Your father wasn't, a bad man. Your mother wasn't loose running around with men. What happened? How they're surprised. Because if people come from good parents, then it's a surprise how their kids can, commit and do, evil actions. Vice versa, if, the parents aren't good, naturally the child most of the time ends up following those footsteps. So Mary, in verse 29, she pointed to Jesus. So then they said, the people, her people, "How can we talk to an infant that is in the crib?" So this is a very shocking verse that's going to come up in verse 30. Jesus speaks as an infant. He says, I am the servant of God. He has given me the scripture and has appointed me a prophet. Because we believe as Muslims that Jesus spoke in infancy. He spoke when he was an infant. So he spoke and he continues to speak. And I'm going to continue reading the verses. Verse 31. He made me bless wherever I go and enjoin on me to observe the contact prayers and the obligatory charity, which is zakat. So in other words, Allah enjoined on Jesus to pray I don't know exactly how many times he prayed in his time, but Allah enjoined on him the prayer and enjoined on him to pay zakat, which is charity, obligatory charity if you can afford it. It's not optional. It's obligatory charity. The other believers, the poor believers, need to be taken care of, and all of us can be poor at any state. So it's not to degrade them. Allah gives of His bounty to whomever He wills. I've been poor, so it's Allah does whatever He wills with His bounty. And then we go on to another verse. I am to honor my mother. He did not make me a disobedient rebel. So Jesus is saying that, I'm to honor my mother. Allah didn't make me disobedient. And then he says, and peace be upon me the day I was born, the day I die, and the day I get resurrected. Because we believe also as Muslims that Jesus was not crucified. We believe that Allah saved him from that. And I'll be going over that issue in this series, inshallah, if Allah wills. I was about to use an Arabic word. So that's it. To sum it up, Jesus we believe in him as a prophet and as a messenger. We don't worship him. We don't believe in him as a God. And we'll go over this belief in the series to further make it clearer, to further explain things, and to further try to come to some common ground and to trigger some thinking. If Allah wills, this is the first video of the series. How is Jesus God? We will be seeing you all again. Salam, peaceful peace.